Before wealth ever fills your bank account, it must first fill your mind. Before success ever shows up in your life, it must first be welcomed in your thinking. The most powerful tool you possess is not in your hands, it's in your head, or stay poor. Think rich, grow rich. Your mind is the starting line of every breakthrough, every business empire, every invention, and every fortune. If you want to rise, expand, build, and become, you must start where all greatness begins, with your thoughts. Everything you see in the physical world, every business, every invention, every fortune, it all began as a thought, not as a building, not as a product, not as money in a bank account, but as a single idea, a vision, a whisper in the mind of someone bold enough to believe. That's how it all starts. Success doesn't begin with talent, or money, or education. It doesn't start in your circumstances, your environment, or even in your opportunities. Success begins in the mind. Your outer world is a mirror of your inner world. You will never live higher than the level of your thinking. That's why your dominant thoughts are not just background noise. They are the blueprint of your future. Think about it. What do you dwell on throughout the day? Are your thoughts focused on what's possible, or are they buried in doubt? Are you picturing yourself succeeding, or are you rehearsing your failures? The mind doesn't care what you plant. It will return whatever seeds you sow. Plant defeat, and you get more defeat. Plant determination, and you'll harvest breakthroughs. There's no escaping it. Your thoughts are like magnets. You attract what you constantly think about. That's not mystical. It's mental. Because your beliefs shape your behavior. Your behavior creates your habits, and your habits determine your outcomes. If you want to change the results in your life, you've got to start by changing the thoughts in your head. See, most people live as prisoners to their own mental patterns. They keep replaying the same negative beliefs. I'm not good enough. I'm too late. I failed too many times. I don't have what it takes. And they don't realize they're hypnotizing themselves with failure. Day after day, they reinforce the very walls that keep them stuck. It's not life that's holding them back. It's their mindset. But here's the truth: you were born to succeed. You were designed to grow, expand, and rise above your limitations. You were wired for greatness. But the key is this: you've got to think like it. As long as you see yourself as average, you'll settle for average. As long as you speak in terms of lack, you'll live in lack. As long as you think poor, you'll stay poor. Start today by taking ownership of your thoughts. Be the gatekeeper of your mind. Don't let fear walk in uninvited. Don't let doubt sit down and make itself at home. You have the authority to evict anything that doesn't serve your future. Because every great achievement begins as a single choice to think differently. You can't keep waiting for external circumstances to change. Change begins inside you. The person who wins in life isn't always the smartest or the most talented. It's the one who refuses to surrender their vision. The one who keeps believing even when there's no evidence. The one who keeps thinking rich, even when they're surrounded by poverty. That's where power lives. When you fill your mind with thoughts of abundance, with belief in your abilities, and with images of the life you want, you begin to reprogram your mental environment. You stop reacting and you start creating. You become intentional, you become focused. And suddenly, opportunities that were invisible begin to appear. Why? Because you trained your mind to look for them. You begin to notice the doors that were always there, but your doubt had kept them locked. Your thoughts are the keys. Your belief system is the master lock. Change the code, and the doors fly open. Your mind is your most powerful asset. It's the workshop where your future is built. That's why you must guard it like your greatest treasure. Don't waste it on worry. Don't poison it with negativity. Don't rent it out to fear. Fill it with belief, with hope, with purpose. Train it every day like a muscle. Because when your thinking is right, your life begins to follow. Every successful person you admire started with nothing but a thought, a dream, a vision, an idea they refused to let go of. They fed it, they nurtured it, they obsessed over it. And because they held it in their minds long enough, the world was forced to catch up. That's the power of dominant thought. What you think about most, you move toward. If your dominant thought is, I'm too broke to succeed, your actions will always match that belief. You'll hesitate. You'll procrastinate. You'll settle. But if your dominant thought is, I was made for more, you'll take risks, you'll stretch, you'll grow. Change your thought, and you change your trajectory. Now, it's not just about thinking positively. That's not enough. It's about thinking with clarity, with intensity, and with conviction. It's about thinking with purpose. Purpose is the engine of progress. Without it, your mind will wander, You'll drift from goal to goal, never settling, never building. But once you define your purpose, once you decide what you truly want, your mind begins to work like a magnet. It starts pulling people, ideas, strategies, and resources toward you. That's not chance. That's alignment. There is an invisible law at work. A mind dominated by a definite purpose becomes a force. People feel it. They respond to it. Life moves for it. But too many people go through life vague and unfocused. They say things like, I want to be successful, or I want to be rich. But they never define what that means. And because the goal is unclear, the path is blurry, you cannot hit a target you haven't identified. Vague intentions lead to vague results. But a definite purpose leads to power. When you get clear on what you want, and I mean crystal clear, everything begins to shift. The fog lifts. You stop chasing distractions. You stop wasting time. You become laser focused. You wake up with a mission. And that mission drives your mindset, which drives your decisions, which drives your results. When you carry a definite purpose in your mind, your brain starts filtering everything through that lens. Your mental radar tunes itself to detect opportunities that match your aim. Where others see noise, you see patterns. Where others see setbacks, you see setups. That's the power of purpose. It upgrades your perception. And don't worry if your purpose feels too big or your goal feels too far. That's exactly how it should feel. Because a goal that doesn't stretch your thinking will never stretch your life. You're not here to play small. You're here to rise, to build, to create. So if your dream doesn't scare you a little, it's probably not worthy of you. Now let me tell you something vital. Your circumstances don't have to be perfect for your purpose to begin. You don't need to wait for more money, more experience, or more connections. You just need to start with what you have, from where you are, and keep your mind locked on the destination. The moment you begin to move toward a clear goal, your thoughts gain momentum. You begin to think not from your history, but from your destiny. You stop reacting to the past, and you start responding to the future. And this shift, this internal alignment, is what causes external change. The world responds to those who know where they're going, not to the uncertain, not to the indecisive, but to those who are definite, driven, and deliberate. And that begins in the mind. That begins with your dominant thought. That begins with purpose. So let me ask you, what's dominating your thinking right now? Is it faith or fear, purpose or panic, vision or distraction? Because whatever it is, that's the direction you're heading. Think rich. Not just financially, but in confidence, in clarity, in character, in purpose. Think rich and you'll start speaking differently. You'll start walking differently. You'll start making decisions that align with a higher level of living. Everything you want in life already exists. The money, the opportunity, the partnerships, the breakthroughs, they're already in the world. But they'll only be attracted to a mind that's ready for them. A mind that's tuned for success. A mind that refuses to settle. A mind that chooses power over pity, growth over excuses, and destiny over delay. That's the beginning. That's where it all starts. The revolution of your life begins in your thinking. You don't have to change everything today. Just change one thought, replace one belief, and do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. And before you know it, your thinking will elevate, your habits will align, and your life will rise to meet the level of your mind, because success, true, lasting, extraordinary success, always begins in the same place as the thoughts you choose to believe. There is a force more powerful than talent, stronger than circumstance, deeper than logic. It's the invisible bridge that takes you from where you are to where you're destined to be. And that force is called faith. Not faith in religion, not faith in luck, but faith in yourself. Faith in your dream. Faith in the idea that what you carry in your mind is already real in the unseen. That the future you desire isn't a fantasy. It's a fact waiting to be claimed. You see, everything you want is already out there. The money, the relationships, the health, the success. It all exists, but it doesn't show up just because you want it. It shows up because you believe it. Faith is the activator. Faith is what reaches into the invisible and pulls it into the visible. Without it, all you have is a wish. But with it, you become unstoppable. Faith is not a feeling. It's not a mood. It's not something you have only when things are going right. True faith shows up when everything looks wrong. When the bank account is empty, but you still believe you're wealthy. When the doors are closed, but you still believe one will open. When the world says, give up, but your heart says, hold on. That's real faith. Most people wait for evidence before they believe, but the successful do the opposite. They believe first, and then the evidence shows up. That's the secret. That's the way all great achievements are born. not in certainty, but in belief. Someone believed they could fly before the first plane ever left the ground. Someone believed they could cure a disease before the first treatment was discovered. Someone believed they could rise from poverty before they ever saw their first dollar. It always begins with belief. Because belief triggers action. Belief creates courage. Belief silences fear. And once belief takes root, doubt can't survive. But here's the challenge. Faith doesn't come automatically, especially not in a world that constantly feeds us fear. We're told to be realistic, to play it safe, to not get our hopes up. And so we start shrinking our dreams to fit our doubts. We stop aiming high because we're afraid of falling. We stop believing big because we don't want to be disappointed. And in doing that, we rob ourselves of the very thing that gives life its power, expectation. You must learn to expect the best, even in the worst. Expect favor in the face of frustration. Expect growth in the middle of grief. Expect opportunity when others see only obstacles. Because faith is not ignoring the facts, it's believing that facts can change. It's knowing that even if it doesn't look possible right now, it's still possible. And when you live with that kind of belief, the universe responds. But it's not just about what you believe silently. It's about what you speak repeatedly. That's where auto-suggestion comes in. Your words are the instructions your mind obeys. Every word you speak is like programming code for your subconscious. So the question is, what kind of code are you writing? Are you speaking words of victory or words of victimhood? Are you telling yourself, I always struggle? Or are you declaring, I always find a way? Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's repeated. It believes whatever it hears most. And over time, it turns that belief into your reality. That's why your self-talk matters more than anything. You could have all the potential in the world, but if you're feeding your mind with fear, doubt, and self-pity, you'll sabotage yourself every time. You'll find ways to fail without even realizing it, not because you're weak, but because you were conditioned to expect less. But the good news is you can recondition yourself. You can rewire your mind for success. You can take control of your inner conversation and make it work for you. How? Through repetition, through affirmation, through intentional words that direct your destiny. Start telling yourself who you really are, not who the world says you are. Say it until your mind believes it. Say it until your energy matches it. Say it until your actions reflect it. I am confident. I am resourceful. I am capable. I attract success. I overcome challenges. I create wealth. I deserve greatness. These aren't just motivational slogans. They are commands to your subconscious. The more you speak them, the more your mind starts to accept them as true. And once your mind accepts a new identity, your entire life begins to shift. Because we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our self-image. Change how you see yourself, and you change what's possible for you. And yes, there will be resistance. The old programming won't go quietly. That voice in your head that says, you're not good enough, you always mess up, you never get ahead. It will fight to survive, but your job is not to agree with it. Your job is to override it. Not with logic, but with conviction. Not once, but daily. Because repetition is the mother of transformation. Repetition, that's how the mind learns. Not through one powerful statement, but through many, over and over. You've got to impress a new belief deep into your subconscious until it becomes automatic, until it becomes natural, until it becomes you. Think of your mind like a garden. You've been planting seeds there your whole life. Some good, some bad. And every day those seeds grow. If you want a different harvest, you need to plant different seeds. You need to pull out the weeds of fear, doubt, and insecurity, and replace them with truth, power, and potential. And then water those new seeds with repetition, with focus, and with faith. The mind is not your enemy, it's your tool. But like any tool, it needs to be sharpened, it needs to be guided. Left alone, it will run wild. It will default to negativity. It will drift toward what's familiar, not what's fruitful. That's why you must be intentional. You must take charge of your internal dialogue and steer it toward your desired destination. If you do, something incredible happens. Your mind stops resisting you and starts working for you. Ideas begin to flow. Confidence begins to grow. Fear begins to fade. And that invisible bridge, faith, becomes stronger. You begin to walk with purpose. You begin to speak with authority. And the gap between your dream and your reality begins to close. Because nothing can stand against the power of a mind that believes. Nothing can hold back a person who has programmed their thoughts with purpose. And nothing can stop the forward motion of someone who speaks their future into existence. Most people want change, but they don't change their thinking. They want different results, but they keep speaking the same limitations. They want a breakthrough, but they never break the pattern. That's not how it works. You must go first. You must speak it before you see it. You must believe it before you receive it. That's the law. The subconscious is like a machine. Feed it doubt, and it will stall. Feed it belief, and it will drive you forward. It doesn't care what you give it. It just follows orders. So give it the orders that align with your purpose. Give it the commands that reflect your future, not your fears. And remember, this isn't a one-time event. This is a daily practice, a discipline, a habit. Just like brushing your teeth or going to the gym or eating healthy, you must feed your mind the right input every day. Not when you feel like it, not when things are easy, but especially when they're not. Because that's when most people quit. They get discouraged. They stop speaking life. They let circumstances dictate their mindset. And that's when the dream begins to die. But not you. You will speak even louder when things get hard. You will declare victory in the middle of the valley. You will hold your vision even when others walk away. Because your power is not in what you see. It's in what you believe. And your belief, fueled by repetition and spoken with authority, is the engine of your transformation. You don't need to beg for breakthroughs. You don't need to chase success. You need to think, speak, and act in alignment with your destiny. And the world will move to match you. The doors will open. The people will appear. The opportunities will find you. Why? Because your mind is no longer working against you. It's working for you. And that changes everything. Success is not an accident. It doesn't come by luck or land in the lap of the unprepared. Success is the result of deliberate planning, focused energy, and above all, persistent action. You can have the greatest dream in the world. You can visualize it, believe in it, speak it every day. But if you don't back it with consistent effort, it will remain just that, a dream. The world doesn't reward intention, it rewards execution. That's why you must take action. Not someday, not when the conditions are perfect, but now. There's never going to be a moment when everything lines up, when all the risks vanish and the path is clear. Success belongs to those who act in spite of uncertainty, those who move forward even when they don't feel ready, those who take that first step before they see the whole staircase. Action is the bridge between the mind and the material. It's the only way to convert thought into reality. You can think rich all day long, but unless you take action toward wealth, your thinking will stay confined to your imagination. Desire without action is fantasy, but desire with persistent, focused daily action becomes power. You must become a doer, a mover, a person of relentless pursuit. Not because it's always easy, but because it's always necessary. The universe responds to movement. Life favors the proactive. The moment you commit to consistent, purposeful effort, you start creating momentum. And momentum is a force greater than motivation, greater than inspiration. It's the compound interest of discipline. But here's the truth most people miss. The action you take doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to know everything, you just have to start. Take that imperfect first step. Make that awkward first call. Launch that rough first draft. Start the business, send the email, pitch the idea. Perfection is a lie that paralyzes progress. Progress is what brings power. Every great success story is filled with imperfect beginnings. What separates those who win from those who wish is persistence. The ability to keep going when others quit. To rise again after falling. To take one more swing even when your arms are tired. That's what turns dreams into results. You've got to develop a never quit mentality. The kind that keeps moving when the motivation runs dry. The kind that shows up even when nobody's watching. The kind that understands that slow progress is still progress. And that every step forward counts, even the small ones, even the quiet ones. Action is not just about doing something. It's about doing the right things with consistency. It's about prioritizing what moves the needle. Most people stay busy but never move forward. They confuse activity with achievement. Don't fall into that trap. Success doesn't come from being busy. It comes from being intentional. Be intentional with your time. Be strategic with your energy. Focus on the actions that align with your vision. Say no to distractions. Say no to anything that doesn't serve your future. Every yes to something meaningless is a no to your purpose. Protect your effort. Guard your hustle. Treat your work like sacred ground. And remember, it's not what you do once that matters. It's what you do daily. The secret to long-term success lies in your daily routine. It's in your habits, your rituals, your decisions behind closed doors. The things no one sees, those are the things that shape everything everyone sees. Every day, you are either feeding your dream or starving it. Every day, you're either getting closer or falling further away. So take the actions that bring you closer, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because that's when it matters most. Persistence is not a trait you're born with, it's a decision you make. Every time you face an obstacle, you have a choice: retreat or advance, give up or grow stronger, get discouraged or get determined. The people who rise to the top aren't the ones who had the easiest path. They're the ones who refuse to stop climbing. There will be failures. There will be setbacks. There will be critics and delays and detours. But none of that can stop you, unless you stop yourself. Obstacles are not signs to quit. They are tests, they are checkpoints asking, how badly do you want it? And your answer must be action. Don't wait for permission to begin. Don't wait for applause. Don't wait for someone to believe in you. Believe in yourself enough to act, to take the next step, to go all in on your own future, because no one can want it for you more than you do. No one else can walk your path. No one else can build your dream. And this brings us to one of the most powerful forces you can ever harness on your journey, your mastermind. No one achieves greatness alone. Behind every extraordinary success is a group of people who sharpened, challenged, supported, and elevated each other. Iron sharpens iron, and the right people will sharpen your vision, expand your thinking, and accelerate your results. You become like the people you surround yourself with. Their thoughts become your thoughts. Their habits become your habits. Their standards become your standards, so choose wisely. If you're constantly around people who complain, who settle, who play small, you will start to do the same. Not because you mean to, but because environment is stronger than willpower. That's why you must build a powerful inner circle, a mastermind of like-minded individuals who are obsessed with growth, with excellence, with possibility. People who won't let you stay average, people who challenge your thinking, who push you forward, who call you higher. People who see greatness in you, even when you forget it yourself. Your mastermind is more than a support system. It's a catalyst. It's a multiplier of success. When two or more minds come together in harmony with a common purpose, something mystical happens. Ideas begin to spark, energy multiplies, insight increases, and breakthroughs that seemed impossible begin to appear. You don't need a crowd. You need alignment. A few deeply committed, purpose-driven individuals will always outperform a room full of passive onlookers. Quality over quantity, energy over noise, loyalty over popularity. And here's the beautiful thing: you don't have to wait for these people to find you. Go seek them. Go invest in them. Go add value to their lives. Because the best masterminds are built on mutual contribution, not just convenience. Serve others, share ideas, offer encouragement. Bring something to the table, and you'll earn your seat. And don't be afraid to walk away from relationships that no longer align with your vision. Not everyone can go with you to the next level. Some people were only meant to be in your story for a chapter, not the whole book, and that's okay. Letting go of the wrong connections creates space for the right ones to enter. Your environment will shape your destiny. If you want to fly, you can't keep hanging around with people who are comfortable crawling. If you want to build empires, don't spend your days with people who tear down their own potential. Protect your circle. Elevate your associations. Curate your environment like your life depends on it, because it does. And understand this: your mastermind is not just about gaining, it's about giving. True power is found in contribution. When you pour into others, you don't become less, you become more. You grow by giving, you rise by lifting. When you help someone else unlock their potential, you unlock a deeper level of your own. The most successful people don't just chase wealth, they create impact. They don't just build things, they build people. They understand that legacy isn't what you leave behind. It's who you lift while you're here. So ask yourself, who are you surrounding yourself with? Who's speaking into your life? Who's challenging you to grow? Who's reminding you of your greatness when you forget? And just as importantly, who are you doing that for? If you don't have a mastermind yet, don't wait for the perfect group. Start with one person. Start with intention. Start with vision. Speak your goals. Ask questions. Share wisdom. Celebrate progress. And watch what happens when minds align on a common purpose. Because when you combine persistent action with the power of a mastermind, you become a force, a thinker, a builder, a leader. Someone who doesn't just wish for success, but creates it. Someone who doesn't just think rich, but grows rich in every sense of the word. The journey will test you. It will stretch you. But it will also reveal who you truly are. And when you take action with courage and surround yourself with greatness, there is no limit to what you can build, who you can become, or how high you can rise.